Hi everyone, welcome back to the Apex Trigger session. So in first part we have learned like how to use the triggers and how to use the context variable and what kind of map and lists we are having. So today we are going to learn like how to write a trigger in case of few scenarios. So for first scenario I have created here, like while user creating an account, if user provides billing address but not the shipping address, write a logic to populate that shipping address on billing address. Okay, so here the most important thing is where we need to write the trigger. So as we know right now, like the values will be entered on account object, so our trigger will be written on account, and we know we have written that on creation, so we need to write on insert. And also we know that we are going to update the same object, so we will use the before. As we know, like if we are updating on the same, in that case we will use the before event. Okay, so now let me go here and open the account object. So basically, if we are entering any information into the billing section but not in shipping, in that case, whatever we will enter in billing, that will come to the shipping address. Okay. So now let me, that is, as we already know, we have two options. One is through the developer console, another one is through the object level. We can just click on edit object. So just scroll down, click on triggers. Here we have already one trigger. Let me delete this one. Let me create new trigger. So here we just need to give the trigger name. So as a best practice, we should give the trigger name, whatever the object name and trigger. Okay, as we know right now, our scenario is that we need to write on account before insert. So here we can give just before insert. Okay, now just click on enter. If, because as we know right now we are returning this trigger for before insert only, but in future might be possible that we need to run this piece of code for the other events also. So here we can just write trigger dot is before, as we want to run this piece of code for this events only. Trigger dot is insert. Okay, now we know like we need to run a for loop. So object is account trigger dot new. Here we can just come and just we can check if first is like the acc obj dot billing city not equal to null, as well as the shipping should not be null, because if, as our requirement is the shipping should not be blank, but same time our like billing should not be blank, because if it's blank then we will be not able to assign any values, right? So if it's not blank but this one is blank, okay, so what we will do is we will come here and just assign this value. Okay, right now as we are running this trigger on before insert, so and no update statements are required. Okay, just click on save. Now we can navigate here. Let me create a new account record. Let me give the, let me give the city as US, and right now I'm putting shipping ID city as blank. Let me click on save. Now let me open this code details. Here we can see whatever information we have entered into the billing address, same on shipping. Okay, now let me go here. Let me create again. Putting here like US and UK. Let me save this one. Okay, we have one. Okay, now let me go here. We can see right now both informations are different. Okay, similarly we can do for the other fields also, like a postal, billing, state, country, and all. Okay, so this is our first requirement. So similarly, as we have done directly from trigger, but as a best practice we should not write any piece of code directly into the trigger. So what we can do is we should use the helper classes. Okay, so for that we can just navigate to the developer console. Either we can just navigate to setup and just open the apex classes and create from there. Okay, now let me close everything. Let me create one class here, like account helper, for example. Yeah, oh, account trigger helper. Okay, so right now what I have done is I have created one helper class. That class will help us to execute whatever things we are running here. Okay, so what I can do is I can create a method here, basically public static void before insert, because we are going to run that piece of on before. Okay, so method name should be meaningful actually, because right now we are running everything which is on before, so that should be a meaningful. Okay, now here we know we required as list only. So what we can do is as required account list, sec list. Okay, now we know that that piece of code we can just pass here. Okay, so instead of using this trigger.new, we can use this one, and the other code will remain the same. Okay, and this we can call from here, like whatever the class name, as we have declared as a static. So we know that if method is static, in that case we just need to use the class name dot the method name. Okay, here we know we need to pass the trigger.new. So let me pass that and just click on save. Oh, we are getting error because looks like we haven't saved this class. So now let me try to save this one. So we can see now this piece of code is saved. Now let me again try to create the record. Let me put here like US. Let me click on save. Oh, we haven't entered. Okay, now let me click on details. Now we can see the US is. So basically always remember that our trigger should be clean. We just only add our logic into the helper class, and that helper class should be called from here. Now at the same time possible that we have few like multiple requirements that we need to handle into the before insert. So in that case what we can do is this method will be called directly from here, and this piece of code we can pass to the other method. Like right now our requirement is public static void manage address. This method also meaningful. So like right now we are working on this one, but in future if someone will work, so they will be easily understand what we have written here. Okay, so this piece code we can write here, and this we can call from here. So on before insert we are doing like this many functionalities basically. Okay, now we can just simply pass this. Okay, so this is the best way to do the triggers actually. Okay, either we are doing a complex logic or a simple logic, but we should use the best practices. So uh, very first best practices is like our code should be bulkify, as well as we should return our all the code in apex class. We should not write our any piece of extra code into the triggers. Trigger should be like neat and clean. Okay, now let me go to the another scenario. Okay, now here we have the second scenario. While user creating an account, write a trigger to create the opportunity. Okay, so now our task is to create a new opportunity on account creation, but same time we have another requirement that with same name and the associate account and opportunity. Means whatever opportunity we will create, that should be created under the account. Means we should be able to see into the related list. Okay, so in order to do that, we need to add that lookup into the opportunity, right? So we know, like, if we are running anything into the before, we will be not able to get the id. Okay, so now here we just need to update the same record, but now we have a requirement that we need to insert the new record and associate the id. So what we can do is, here we can just write after insert. Okay, and here we can hit the thing. Okay, so here we know, here we need the after. Okay, so same as we have created for the before. So what we can do is, here we can create for the after. Let me copy this one, let me go here. Okay, now we know we require the list, new list will be the enough. So let me save this one. Okay, now we need to create the opportunity. Okay, so now thing is, we need to write the bulkification code as well. Okay, so it's possible that we are creating 5 records, 10 records, or n number of records. Either possible we are getting one record also. Okay, so what we can do is, as we know, we need to create the opportunity. Okay, so what we can do is, we can create a opportunity list, because there is possibility that we have a multiple account records. Okay, list opportunity. Okay, now let me run the for loop. So okay, now we need to create the opportunity. So let me create an instance of opportunity here. We know, like, we have few required fields here, like name. So as in our requirement, name should be the account name, and another one is close date. So let me give system dot today dot 8 days. So let me add 6 days. Okay, and another one is stage name, so new. Okay, now opportunity is created here, but we have to add into the list, so we can insert outside the for loop. Okay, why I'm using the this like list and all? Because inside a for loop, we should not use any kind of tml operation as well as the sql queries. Okay, so here dot size greater than 0. Okay, so make sure, like, we are using check, like null check. Either we are checking a size check, that should be a required thing, we can say. Okay, so now let me save this one. Okay, now let me go here and let me try to create a new account. So let me paste, click on save. Okay, now, right, let me see, do we have that opportunity list? No, let me go here and add the related list. Okay, so in order to find a lightning page as well as the page layout, like to add the related list, so what we can do is, we just need to click on edit page. Okay, just click on related is fine, or like, yeah, in order to get the page layout, just click here, just select this one. Okay, account layout. related list opportunity. Let me click on save. Back. Now we can see here is no opportunities. Let me try to query that any opportunity was created or not. Okay. Okay. Now let me save. Okay. So right now we have like used that, we have created this method here, but we forget to save here actually. So let me save this one here. Now let me go and create a new account. So opp test. Okay, right now also we can see the opportunity was not created. Now let me try to explore. So we can see this one is created. Let me name also. So we can see the opp test was created, but it's not attached to the account. Why it's not attached? Because we have not given the account id. Okay, in order to get into the related list we need to give the parent lookup, right? So here parent is account, so we know that account lookup is account id. So we need to give like scobj.id. Let me save this one. Let me go back here. Okay, click on this one. Let me test opp1 2. Okay, let me click on save. Okay, now we can see the opportunity is also created. Okay, so here we understood that code should be bulkify, as well as we should not use any kind of dml as well as the soql queries inside the folder. Okay, now let me open the scenario 3. So here we have few requirements related to the validation which is not possible through the validation rules, so we need to write into the trigger. So when a user updates the opportunity record, if user change opportunity amount field through an error, that amount should not be updated after the creations. Okay, so these things we can achieve through the validation rules also, but same time we need to understand if we get this kind of scenarios that we have to do from triggers. So for that we have to use uh, trigger like that. Okay, हेलो जी भैया, हाँ भैया, मैंने वो आधा घंटा लग जाएगा. Okay, so in order to achieve this requirement, as we know we are running something on opportunity update, so our trigger will be on opportunity. The operation will be update. As we want to stop the database commit, we need to write that on before. Okay, so if we want to perform any kind of validations, in that case we have to go with the before, but there is some scenarios that we need, then we can go with the after as well. Okay, so now let me go here. Let me open the opportunities. Okay, so now our requirement is, so for example we have this opportunity. On opportunity, um, we have the amount field, so this should not be updated. For example, on the creation we have 10, and after that we are trying to change like 8 20, or we are going to blank. In that case we should get an error. Okay, so let me create a trigger. As we know we need to write the trigger on opportunity level. So let me go here. Let me click on triggers. Okay, same thing, opportunity trigger. We know we need to write on before update. Okay, Same thing, we know we need to create a helper class, so we can just click on this one, new helper. Okay, public static void before update. So okay, now let me add the context variables. As we know, we need to write on before and trigger dot this update. Okay, now let me save this one. Okay, now let me go here, let me put class name trigger dot new. Okay, now we need to check the old and new value, so we need to pass the trigger dot old map as well. Okay, so we need to create one more parameter here in order to get that. So here we can have map of id and opportunity old map. Okay, now we can simply just write a trigger. As we know, opportunity opp. Okay, and we know the list name is opp list, so here we can just write opp dot amount not equal to the old value. So in order to get that, we can just write get opp dot id dot amount. Okay, so before getting any value from the map, we should use the contains key. Okay, we know like we are going to get, because if we are coming from update, then old map should be there, but there is a possibility that we are calling that same method from some other places also in future. So in that case, possibility that we get some errors. Okay, so here we can use the contains key. If this is the case, then error should come, add error. Okay, that amount field should not be updated after the creation. Let me save this one. Let me go here, let me create the, or let me try to save this one. Okay, so we can see amount field should not be updated after the creation. Okay, so basically let me try to create a new opportunity so we can get more better idea actually. So let me add 100 here, test. Okay, let me save. So now the opportunity is created with $100. Now let me try to update the price to 1000. Okay, so now we can see amount field should not be update after the creation. If I will make the same, in that case we will be able to sell the information. Means it will only restrict if we will changing the amount field. Okay.